All right. Welcome to the Rogue Report. This is going to be a bit of a different episode that I've done so far. I assuming that at least two or three of these have been released by now. Where it's normally just me sitting here talking about a certain subject. I thought about it, and I would love to conduct interviews through this podcast because the Safely Controlled podcast is one thing. It's not very doesn't I don't feel like there's a platform to be interviewing people. So, without further ado, I'm conducting an interview today, and that person that I'm interviewing is my good friend Tim. All right, Tim.
Just for the record, this is actually considered a Timterview, not an interview. So,
Are you going to be in kayfabe the entire time?
no, not the entire time, but I had to hit you with that.
All right, so for people that might be new to this channel, but then again, the people that have been following my channel, Tim has been in a couple of different videos that we've done together.
We've tried to escape places together. I've noticed that seems to be the concept of the games we play together. Is we try to climb out of hell, or we try to escape rooms, or
we have to get through a hospital 666 times.
For some reason, me and you get in some really sticky predicaments that we have to try to get our way out of. I've noticed.
And then we're trying to make like content on content warning. That's a fun game that we should play again.
We should play that again. I think we need 2 more for that. I think if we had a 4-person team, it would be more fun.
Oh yeah, we would have way more chuckles about it too.
Yeah.
But the reason why now, first of all, when I asked if I could interview you, what was your genuine reaction for that?
At first it was weird because I was like, I bet Matt's about to ask me a bunch of questions that he kind of already knows the answer to.
Well, no, that's the thing. Is I'm actually going to ask you some questions that I feel like I don't have answers to, just because of the fact that some of them I could totally guess on it. Because if anything, what I really want to talk about, we could talk about what we're doing currently right now, but the main thing that I honestly wanted to talk to you about is your wrestling career, because not a lot of people know that you are. What would you consider yourself, an indie wrestler?
Indie wrestler, yeah. Professionals get paid.
And how long have you been doing that?
I think it was the 16th was my 10-year anniversary
of wrestling.
Yeah, from when I started training and stuff like that. It took me I want to say it was 9 months in to have my first match. No, my first match was in November. So it's been 9 years since my first match.
Because I would say that we've totally known each other now well over 10 years now.
Yeah.
And we started working together, at the same restaurant. And then
I want to say it was 2012.
The thing that we had in common too, that we both grew into pretty much at the same time, or more than likely grew back into, was our love for professional wrestling.
It was a good time though. It was kind of during that NXT boom, when NXT was
pretty much hype. Yeah.
Kevin Owens was on NXT, and Shinsuke. You remember Shinsuke Nakamura in NXT? How exciting that. Even his entrance, bro.
I remember when he debuted on that SmackDown episode. It was a SmackDown after Mania when he came out. Whoever plays the
He interrupted The Miz and Maurice.
Yeah.
The Miz and Maurice were out there dressed up as John Cena and Nikki Bella, and he interrupted them.
Yep. And then whoever plays the violin for his entrance was just smashing it, dude. That whole pop that he got for his debut, on the main roster, was actually sick.
Speaking of which, they put a title on him this weekend, which made me excited. So
he's United States now, right?
That's what I'm saying. I'm glad to see him coming back up, because we were at the Rumble that he won, dude. That the Rumble where Shinsuke Nakamura and Asuka won the Rumbles. It couldn't get any better for me as a fan right there.
What is that? Our favorite show of all time?
It's mine. It's definitely mine.
I was gonna say there's no way that something was beating that. The only thing that I kind of did get chipped out of was when Corona became a thing and all the lockdowns happened. The fucking first thing that happened was on March 16th on a fucking Monday. That's when all the lockdowns happened, and I was supposed to go to Raw. And Stone Cold was going to be there, and that probably would have been my favorite show.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm pissed off
about
it.
You got to think, at that Rumble, at the intro Battle Royal, Ric Flair was in it. So me and you have technically got to watch Ric Flair wrestle in person.
You got a point.
So that's pretty cool.
So I guess going back into the beginning of wrestling, especially what made you actually get into doing this yourself, as going through the training process of it?
I mean, in all honesty, it was kind of Ron showing up at Papa Rocks, if we're being honest.
Ron the Beast.
Yeah, and then he started talking about it and got me really thinking about it. Like I always wanted to do it for sure. Me and a couple of my buddies used to wrestle on trampolines and do like wrestling moves on each other on trampolines. In fact, one of them became an indie wrestler in the area and is actually kind of big. His name's Ryan Mitchell is his wrestling name. But like me and him literally used to do wrestling moves on each other and his little brother on his trampoline for like hours at a time.
Just fucking around doing backyard wrestling as kids.
Yeah, we called it TCW, bro. Trampoline Championship Wrestling. We had our own fake names and cardboard belts and
I don't know if you knew this, but Scott and his friends used to do the exact same shit. They had the NWA, the Norwin Wrestling Association.
that's awesome.
And they used to just do it with like a bunch of mattresses and stuff like laid down on the ground, and like that was their thing. They,
Bro, if it was recorded for us, it was on them. Like you probably don't even remember them, but they had like a video camera to point that recorded on these little like cassette type things.
Yeah.
And then you had to put that into a
bigger
a
tape.
VHS. Yeah, yep.
I had one of those camcorders.
Okay, yeah. So if we do have any of that footage, it would be on one of them camcorders, probably.
One of the little tiny
I wouldn't
micro
even-
tapes.
Yeah. So even if we did find it, we'd have to like go to an antique store to find one of the big tapes to put it in.
Because that's what time of the life we're in right now.
Yeah, like
Because none of this shit,
I don't want to.
none of this shit's digitally fucking saved. We have to go back.
Bro, when I gotta go to an antique store to buy shit from my childhood, I know I'm close to the end.
So Ron the Beast Williams, or we personally knew him as Ron Richards himself, somebody that showed you your first like entrance or intro into indie wrestling, and then like I also like worked alongside of him in the restaurant, and like he did teach me a lot. It was one of those things where so people do know that Ron had passed away. What now? Like almost. Jesus Christ, was that like 5 years ago? No, hell no.
It would have been pre-COVID.
Yeah, it was like 2018. So he's been gone for a bit now, and he was actually like super cool, super chill dude. His history in like indie wrestling around the Pittsburgh area, I really don't know much about like what he used to do. Like I knew that he had his tag team with Dean Radford, but like I don't know much about his history at all.
I don't know that they teamed a whole bunch. I remember watching him and JB Destiny win tag titles in the middle of a mall, and like, bro, I must have been 11 at the time, so we're talking like mid 90s, probably late 90s. You know what I mean? Like so. Like, I remember Ron the Beast. That's why I was so shocked when you told me that he worked there. Like, I remember that conversation. I literally remember you calling me and being like, yo, a wrestler started working here. His name's like Ron something. And then you told me his wrestling name. And I was like, wait, are you telling me you work with Ron the fucking Beast Williams? Like, I remember being shocked when you told me that, dude.
And then, like, actually finding out, like, his background, too, within the industry, like, well, especially like within like I guess what the tri-state area or whatever, and how like
he actually ran a promotion for a while. I don't remember I don't know if he ran it personally, but I know that he was like one of the big people involved in it for a while. I think it was IPW or something like that, maybe, but don't quote me on that. I don't know for sure off the top of my head. I'd have to look that up.
Besides the Beast, other influences that you have had in your past, whether that that's somebody that you've trained with or somebody that you've just watched.
I'd say the biggest people that really were, I guess, the drives behind me actually making it through training would be Quinn, obviously. He's number one. I always say that if my life had a Mount Rushmore, Quinn and Ron would both be one of the four heads on there.
Very nice.
So, and then I'd say the other person was Lee Moriarty, who's in AEW right now. That dude is like the most humble, driving people to do better dude I've ever met in my life, to be honest. Like I still to this day think about like of all the people in this area to make it makes so much sense that he's the one.
I feel like I probably have met Lee at least once before at a local show, but I don't remember.
Well, Katie still talks about Lee. Like Lee left such an impression on my fucking girlfriend that she still talks about him all the time.
Oh, nice.
You know what I mean? Like just of how nice he is and all that stuff.
That's actually super cool.
Yeah, the same. He's like the most humble. He would like, I'd be like, dude, I can't do that. And he'd be like, yes, you can. Come on, let's go.
So what about like anybody like super famous? Because I feel like knowing you, like back in the day, you were always big on Jericho.
I was big on Jericho, but see, my bringing into wrestling was ECW. because we used to go camping and we had a little TV that got like the antenna. I said that's so weird. Antenna signals, and one of the channels would show ECW at like midnight. So like my introduction to wrestling was like franchise Shane Douglas, Taz, Sabu, RVD, Tommy Dreamer, Bill Alfonso out there just blowing that whistle. Funny story about that. I went to an ECW show when I was like probably 12 or 13, and some drunk dude was messing with me, and Bill Alfonso came over and defended me. And like it was like the funniest thing where he's like, leave that kid alone, you get the fuck away from him. Started screaming at this dude. It was like, I still think about it, like Bill Alfonso of all people came out and defended me.
That's
and the funny part
really
about it, dude, he was selling the merch. Like that's how that ECW was so DIY at that point that literally Bill Alfonso was the merch guy also.
Mm-hmm. Paul Heyman is ECW.
Yeah, yep.
That's the when I think of ECW, that's who I immediately go to is Paul Heyman and his what used to be his gorgeous set of hair and his hat.
Yeah, he got a huge pop when he came back, dude. I'm happy.
Dude, that was fucking sick. His intro, that was the biggest pop I've heard for a non-wrestler.
It's cool that he doesn't have entrance music. All he has to do is say "ladies and gentlemen," and everybody knows what's about to happen. That's crafty. But yeah, so I grew up on ECW more than anything, really. Like, I always say that Taz versus Sabu, that was kind of the storyline that hooked me.
I've actually, so this is the one question that I gave you pre-interview here. So you've actually had like a couple of days to think about this because you told me you knew what your favorite match was.
No, I knew what my least favorite match was.
So what is your least favorite match?
My least favorite match ever was, I'm not going to say who was involved in it because I'm not going to Voldemort this. It's he who should not be named.
Okay.
So basically he put me in a match where it started with a video that we pre-shot go on a television. Okay, so in wrestling training, you're told to listen to the veteran, and I was under the impression that this guy was a veteran, and it turns out he really wasn't. He kind of didn't know what he was doing. But I didn't know that at the time. So we shot a pre-shot video of him jumping me, and then they showed that video, and then he pulled me down like a flight of stairs and threw me into the ring. And then we basically did like interpretive wrestling to the Lion King soundtrack.
What
like he did Be Prepared, like I Just Can't Wait to Be King. Like there was like 3 or 4 songs where we spent like 2 weeks working on the spots in this match to line up like with this fucking Lion King song.
Choreographing to the Lion King soundtrack.
Bro, I started going to the building where it happened in again recently for the first time in a long time, and when I walked into the building, I got PTSD from the embarrassment that I felt after that match. Like, I literally almost, like, I walked in and had to go into the bathroom because I almost started vomiting.
It wasn't,
That's how bad it was.
This actually happened, like, in person?
Oh, this was on a show.
Oh,
This was on a show, dog.
And then you were like, oh, this is a good idea.
And showed all the fans a video. No, at no point did I ever think it was a good idea. That's the thing. It was just, I was so new in the business that I was just doing what the guy who had been in the business longer, but it turned out he was only in the business like 3 months longer, maybe, if that. You know what I mean? So yeah, by far, like I said, literally, I went to that building again recently because they're letting me like work out there and stuff again. And when I first walked in, I literally I got dizzy and stuff from the PTSD of like the post embarrassment of that happening.
If I find video of that, are we gonna watch it together?
No, there shouldn't be video of it. That's the thing, because it was, luckily for me, it was during the period of this company where they didn't have a video company shooting for them. So it was just kind of shows were happening, but they weren't releasing any content.
Oh, okay. Did you figure out what your favorite match was?
I have a couple. I've had a couple matches with Lee Moriarty that were great, but it's only because he made me look way better than I really am. I had a match with Zeke Mercer where we were both still kind of green, but I feel like that might be actually one of my best matches technically, just for the fact that we trained together. So like me and him were in the ring together like 3 or 4 days a week most of the time anyway. So the chemistry was already there. You know what I mean?
So I guess this is a brand new question that I'm going to come up with here on the spot is like, when you say like it was like one of your favorite matches was something like, I guess, is it the production of it? Is it the communication between you and whoever?
Um,
Shit like that. Like what does actually put together the best match?
Personally, for me, it's if I can go back and watch it and not cringe, or if I can go back and watch it and be like, oh fuck, man, I wish we would have did this. Like the less times I do that, the better the match in my mind.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
If that makes
Not a
sense. Like
no
if it's
botch
not,
is obviously no fucking
yeah,
botches.
yeah, it's more the like going back and watching it as a fan and making sure I did what I should have done to give the fans what they wanted, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And then my other one would definitely be Bill Collier. Bill Collier was one of my favorite people to be in the ring with. He knew I was nervous to wrestle him, so he kept taking me into like headlock spots and shit and telling me jokes.
Oh, so you would cheer
Like
up?
yeah, like he spent the whole time like trying to loosen me up. You know what I mean? Like he could tell I was nervous because I knew I was going over. It was like my biggest win ever. It was like a unexpected. Like I was the dude who got. I was basically the 1-2-3 kid beating Razor Ramon one night. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I knew it was gonna happen. And he could tell I was nervous as shit. And he just literally like was so cool in the ring. He took me in a corner one time and he goes, "Calm the fuck down, kid." He just chops me real hard.
See, the other one that I know for a fact that this happened was we brought up Lee Moriarty, who's in AEW, but you broke a kendo stick over his head.
I did, and then I found out later that I didn't hit him right with it, and I felt bad.
But it broke.
Yeah,
Which was
yeah,
sick.
it wasn't. That's the thing. It wasn't supposed to. It did break, and the picture looks cool.
Yeah.
But I feel bad that I did it now because I don't know. The person that showed me how to do it didn't tell me to loosen my hands up at the last second, so I just kind of went into it. But I think that they were more doing back hits than over the head. So I think I was taught how to do a back hit, and I did a back hit over the head.
So that's obviously a thing, is when you're swinging like a big ass wooden stick at somebody, you're not supposed to really hit them as hard as you possibly can.
What it is you kind of loosen your hands up at the end so that when it makes contacts, it bounces around in your hands more than coming straight down onto them.
I see. Yeah, that makes sense.
It's the same thing with chair shots, kind of. You're kind of going into it and then letting the contact make the chair bounce back into your hand, and then you catch it again.
That's another story I remember you telling me at some point. Like, I don't know if this actually happened when you were there, or this was just a story that you heard, but the old building where they were, people were taking loud ass chair shots that people thought it was gunfire.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
that's so
It was
funny
echoing
to me.
so much. People thought gunfire was coming out of this building.
And then I like the one show that we went to. Well, actually, it would have been the Beast Brawl. Was the first ever Beast Brawl. Dude,
Yeah.
Classic. Is he the one that took a fucking shot over the head and just started bleeding immediately?
Yeah, dude, he got hit with the camera. They hit him with the camera. Yep. He actually just came back recently, bro. I got to see him again recently. It was nice because I hadn't seen him in a while. He was actually a dude I got along with. I like him.
He's not from around the area, right?
He is from around the area, and then he moved to New York for a while for work, and then he just moved back a couple months ago, I think.
Yeah, that was the story that I remember you telling me, is him getting cracked open and then just going into the back, super gluing his skull back together, and then driving back to New York. Meanwhile, this old building is like located 15 feet away from a hospital.
You didn't care, bro. He's a nurse too. That's the thing. Like his job he went to New York for is he's like a registered nurse, dog.
I didn't know that. Oh, so he's medically professionally. Oh, he's capable of super gluing his own head shut. So never mind.
That's what I'm saying. If anybody's gonna super glue their own head shut, it's him. Bro.
That's actually fucking good. No, I don't remember.
Yeah. He's a registered nurse. Yeah, that's what he moved up to New York for, was to work in a hospital.
Oh fucking hell! All right. So the next one I wanted to go into was just your opinion on the current state of wrestling as is. And you can talk about local promotions. You can talk about AEW. You can talk about WWE.
I think the biggest issue with local promotions is there's too many everywhere.
Because everybody's trying to one-up the other promotion.
Yeah, and then you have like 4 promotions within 2 hours of each other running on the same night.
Mm-hmm.
When if you put all 4 of them promotions together, you'd have one hell of a fucking show, in all honesty. Like,
is it, you think it's more along the lines of people, I mean, let's actually back up a minute here. Aren't you starting your own with other people?
Well, it's more of a reboot, but it's more of a TV taping, and we're running on Wednesdays, so we're not competing with anybody either.
Oh, there you go. And then, but is that also, you're opening it up so that people like you want
Well,
you.
here's the thing. It was called Legit American, and the name is getting changed to Legit Alternative. So it's a reboot in a way, but also a rebrand.
Isn't this? Didn't you also say it was something along the lines of like a 21 plus type show?
Yeah, it's going to be, I think, 16 and over because we're doing it in West Virginia. We don't plan on serving alcohol, but it's going to be a bit more non-family friendly.
Yeah, more like an attitude era, if you will.
I would say more like ECW was what, because it's going to be like no rules matches, but obviously not death matches and shit like that all the time, but more of a hardcore extreme feel, if you will.
So me personally, when it comes to like the different promotions, like especially fucking AEW, I have not really paid attention to anything that AEW has done in the past. Like their first year was maybe not even the whole year, but their first like opening up there too, like when they had Cody Rhodes at the start, um John Good or John Moxley, whatever, when he like left the WWE and appeared at their first
Yeah.
show at the end there too. I feel like they were definitely hyped up. They still have other people too that might have like left WWE to go over to AEW, and I feel like that was a part of the creative block that WWE had at the point.
See, my thoughts on AEW is what happens when you hire a bunch of dudes who feel the need to get their shit in. You have dudes doing like triple Canadian destroyers and shit on each other and just trading finishers back and forth, and it's like there's no psychology to the matches. Like I don't know, man. I have not enjoyed AEW as a whole. Really at
like
all.
that. Yeah, like I legit don't think that I've really have enjoyed it. There's a couple of things that have happened in AEW that I thought was like, oh, that's actually really sick. Like I remember Jericho was feuding with some dude, and the dude, I think it might have been, what's his name, MJF or something
See,
like that.
that's a good example. You brought up how into Jericho I was in WWE and shit. I can't stand him. Like, I have not liked a single thing he's done in AEW. Oh, don't get me wrong. Like, a bit of the bubbly, yeah, that's hilarious. But like, his in-ring stuff, I'm not enjoying. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Plus, like, I mean, he's also getting up there in his age as well, and then him
Yeah.
focusing on like
But I mean,
other
think
shit.
about the list and shit, man.
Yeah.
Like he didn't need. He was still getting over in the ring without his physical attributes, by like the list and remember the plant. Remember when the plant got beat up and he went to defend the plant and shit. Like he's not. I just don't feel like he's doing the same stuff. He was willing to make himself the butt of the joke before, and I feel like he's not willing to anymore.
Wasn't it a big thing though too? Like I said something about like creative block in WWE. That's why a lot of people left WWE to join AEW there at the beginning.
Yeah.
Because I feel like the one person that left, well, this might have been a medical thing, but Daniel Bryant or Brian Danielson, whoever, I felt like one of his big reasons for leaving WWE was because of,
See, that's another thing that kind of bothers me. You got to think this dude had literally the best doctors in the world telling him he shouldn't wrestle no more, and then he went to another professional company and started wrestling. Like their doctors were like, "Nah, let him in. It's cool." Like that's another thing that kind of irks me about AEW. Like,
is like how,
yeah, like why is he allowed here, but
yeah, it
in
makes sense.
WWE it wasn't okay?
For example, in the NFL, let's say you're on one team and you get put into
Yeah,
concussion protocol, and
you
then
can't join the Miami Dolphins for a week and still play.
right. You can't be traded mid fucking concussion protocol and then go join another team. Be like, oh yeah, he's fine.
Exactly.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
makes
See,
sense.
yeah, exactly. So like, I just don't feel like safety is a big enough issue there. As far as like the people getting their shit in, like I said, like I always think of there was a match that was Darby Allin versus Samoa Joe,
Mm-hmm.
and the spot was supposed to be that Darby Allin cut like the padding off of the ring so that it exposed the 2x4s underneath. And dude, it took him the better part of like 3 minutes, without exaggerating, to cut through like one of these lines. So it was just this huge long spot of Samoa Joe laying there while Darby Allin struggled to cut through these lines. It's like, bro, just move on. This isn't working. Move on to the next spot. Like that's the stuff I'm talking about. About like, bro, that's not working. You need to move on. Like, stop. You've been here for 9 minutes. Cut these fucking lines off this ring.
And then I would say for me too, though, the current state of WWE, ever since a certain big name has not been a part of the company due to shitbag
Is that another
reasons.
Voldemort? Is that another Voldemort situation?
Yeah, I would say so. The way that Triple H and Nick Khan and I guess The Rock, whoever the hell else is basically,
Mhm.
running the show right now, they have been pumping out some real good content for the better part
The
of
content's been
a
good,
year, a little over.
and they're really starting to build up the women's roster too, which is nice now. They don't just have like,
Did you see the Intercontinental? Is that what it was?
yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like the women in NXT are nuts right now, bro. That Soruka does some moves where I'm like, bro, that's insane. Have you seen her finisher where she does like the flip off the ropes into a stunner, basically?
No. The last time I was paying any attention to NXT because I thought somebody was going to make their move to the main roster, but then that move never happened because he went to AEW. Was somebody Adam Cole?
He's another one that makes me nervous. Where like I feel like if he was wrestling for WWE, they wouldn't let him wrestle after all his injuries at this point.
Oh, really?
You know he lives. You know he lives not far from us, right?
Like Lancaster or something like that?
No, his Britt Baker's from Greensburg, bro.
Oh, I see. I honestly didn't know where she was from. I thought I knew he was from around. I want to say he was from around Lancaster or something like that. But no, I didn't know they actually are super close.
Yeah, I don't think they live far from here. I've heard that they go to the place where I'm working out. Like they go there with Corey Graves and Carmella sometimes because they live around here also.
Oh, see, I actually didn't know he actually lived around here. Corey.
I'm trying to line it up that I'm there one of them days so I can try to get Carmella to FaceTime Oscar for me.
All right. So and then like I said, you said something about your new promo. You're basically making somewhat of a comeback into wrestling. What made you take the time off besides the obvious fact that in the past like 2 years you became a father? What made you want to return to the ring?
I just missed it. Like I'm getting out of shape, and it was a really fun way to stay in shape. Is a lot of it. I probably, if it wasn't for COVID, I probably would have never actually quit. Dealing with the mental issues I got during COVID was more why I left. So COVID made me way too comfortable being by myself for a while, and it took me a while to realize that.
Dude, I guess mine would have been the exact opposite because like I was like even with COVID happening, I with the job that I had, I was around a bunch of people for the longest time. And then at the beginning of this year, I switched jobs. And I remember early on in this year, probably around like April and maybe even before that, but that's when I like was switching jobs. And then I was, not around people a lot and I was by myself. And that's what fucked with me.
You see, there was basically a point in my life where the government was like, everybody leave Tim alone, and they had to listen.
Yeah.
And that made me way too comfortable with just being by myself and not seeing other people for like multiple days at a time. You know what I mean? It took me a minute to realize what had happened even and get myself mentally fixed.
And now you're hardly ever alone.
Yep.
How's
And now
fatherhood?
I have a 2-year-old. Exhausting.
I bet.
So I would say that's the best way to describe it. It's exhausting.
She's adorable.
Yeah, she is.
You're
yeah,
adorable.
it's fun. It's fun, but she definitely keeps me on my toes.
And you also said that you're practicing newer shit with her, just see if you could work it out on somebody else.
Oh yeah,
like your own size.
Oh, I dare them to put me in the ring with a midget one time, bro. I got so many moves that people have never seen before. I've learned on my daughter.
Oh, would you take her to training when she's ready?
I actually took her to the building before and like let her run around the ring and stuff. So
that's awesome.
There's one of the people that I would train with right now. Their son comes. He's like 16, but he's like athletic as all hell. So he's doing like backflips off the top rope and shit already, which is hilarious.
That's what's up. How about this, real quick? But so I want to end the wrestling talk because I do want to move into just something little different than wrestling, obviously.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
Can you do me a favor and cut a promo?
What do you? I need a Is it like a date and a time? Do you have anything like that?
January 8th.
January 8th in Parkersburg, West Virginia. Fuck your legends. Fuck your everybody else. That's all that matters. Hold on, I gotta start over. See, this is the good thing about doing this is I can take a retake because this isn't live. I'll do it live. Fuck it, we'll do it live. I don't know. See, that's the thing. You need more than just that. Like I would need, who am I facing? You know what I mean? I'd have to do a little bit of research. You got to think my promos aren't aren't that type of thing. I do a lot of research, so I could say personal shit.
Do a promo against me.
Nah, you fat bitch.
So funny. I mean, you don't have to if it's hard.
You know, Matt Matthews thinks he's going to come in here to LAW and be the most important thing to happen. Well, this Tim Basile and Tim Rod is completely wrong. Come January 8th, I'm going to take my foot and I'm going to put it right up that big fat ass. I would say I'm going to kick him in the head, but he's like 13 feet tall, and we all know I can't fucking get my leg that high. So it's going in the ass, okay? Taking my foot right up the balloon knot. So in Parkersburg, West Virginia, Matt Matthews, you're fucking in trouble, okay? There you go.
It sounded like almost like Red Foreman was cutting a promo. Foot and asses.
Put feet in asses. Right in the balloon knot. Well, I was gonna say I'm gonna kick your head off, and then I was like, no, I want to do that. He's too tall for me to kick him in the head.
Yeah, that's right. He's way too tall. You could probably reach my head.
My favorite part about making the fat jokes about you is, for some reason, once or twice a week, Allie and CJ feel the need to tell me you're not fat. Like, I don't know.
He's not fat. Like,
I was like, you guys know that's the joke, right? Like, if he was short and fat, I would make tall jokes. I was like, and the joke is, I don't get that he's not fat, and I make fat jokes on a tall guy. You don't get it? Like,
at Thanksgiving, for some reason, my dad was asking me my weight, and I was like, bro, I didn't fucking know. And he's like, what do you think you are? I was like, dude, if the fucking over-under was at 320 and a half, I'm slamming the over. That's how fat I think I am. Kind of fat.
My favorite when people ask me to feel like that, I like to give them like really undescriptive measurements. Be like, how much you weigh? Be like, probably like 23 raccoons and a bowling ball.
And everybody just
what?
Like, you son of a bitch.
What the fuck? What do you mean?
Distancing's away from wrestling at the moment, because now I kind of want to talk about what we've been doing now for the past couple of months. Now, going back, fucking 8, 9, 10 years ago or whatever, is when you kind of were the one that introduced me into content creation in the first place. Going with Rogue necessarily doesn't exist without your help, so I do thank you for that.
Absolutely. What's funny is you kind of technically got me into it, because the reason I found out about content creation was because of Fortnite, and you're the one who showed me Fortnite. So oddly, it's like a weird circle of it would have never happened to me if it wasn't for you. So thank you also.
Oh, word? Okay, cool.
Because that was what I found out. Because you got to think, Ninja was really the first content creator I figured out about, because everybody knew who the fuck he was.
And then, so we're talking about content creation as like in quotations, content.
Yeah, because it could be anything. Because like you got to think, I was watching like TV and stuff at the point. I didn't even know like YouTube had this kind of stuff on it. But we're also talking about
podcasts.
No, I'm saying like the infancy of Fortnite. We're talking about 9 years ago at this point, probably, right? How fucking long has Fortnite been out? Too damn long.
Because I was getting at the fact that we used to record 3 inches deep.
Oh yeah.
2 other people. And we started that before I met my wife, so that was 9 years ago.
In a murder shack. That was we used to record it in my murder shack. Leatherface's murder shack.
We did a couple of recordings. I know that the first I don't know, solid month or whatever we were doing that was at Fat Zach's.
Yeah.
And then Chop was involved. Obviously, I feel like there was one other person.
You know what's crazy?
Involved in that too.
Out of the 3 inches deep crew, you're the only one that doesn't have a kid now.
You're welcome.
We all 3 have daughters. That's nuts. Get ready, buddy. It's coming for you next.
Yeah, watch me not have a kid.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna be really funny when I'm the only one that doesn't have a kid.
It is gonna be kind of funny. You're not lying.
You guys are just gonna look at me holding babies all at the same time, like, you son of a bitch.
No, I ain't holding it. I can't even hold my baby no more, bro. She's like a fat raccoon with a bowling ball in her hands, bro. It's hard to hold. She's getting heavy.
But okay, so you know what's really funny is like I was gonna legit ask you some questions about like what made you want to get into content and stuff like that. Like, I mean, for me, I have so many different influences around different communities that I pay attention to. Like Rooster Teeth was a big part of it for the past couple of years, even though they just shut down their company earlier this year. A couple of those guys went off to make their own companies and start off their own independent projects, and I'm happy for those guys. You know, when it comes to
That's
like
the blue versus red people, right?
right.
Okay, yeah, I got you.
But you know, if you're talking maybe I don't know, maybe not necessarily just streamers or with the stuff that we've been doing for the past couple months. First of all, to me, it's very therapeutic, and I have a lot more free time on my hands than I used to because I was working like 50, 60 hours a week. And now I'm working like,
Amen there, bro. I went from a full-time job to stay-at-home dad. That was part of my reasoning.
yeah, which makes sense. Like, but that's the thing is like I couldn't sit still and not do fucking anything because that's what like I had this thought that I was going to start getting this equipment and start doing this shit. I didn't plan on doing this until the beginning of next year because I didn't know when I was going to be ready. But it was more along the lines of like,
Yeah, because I remember you said you didn't plan on releasing anything till December, and you've been releasing, so
yeah,
you must have got ahead of schedule.
it's basically it was one of those things where it's like I guess I have to, you know, start doing it so I learn how to do shit and like the whole like fixing audio like cuz that was like my biggest issue at the start of it because I didn't like the way that it sounded. But yeah, like if anything it was just like talking to you um bouncing ideas back and forth and shit because like if anything, this is what I really wanted to do. Like what we're doing now is like just doing podcasting, talking back and forth. Like the content like that I've made, like I label it on my channel as rogue gameplay. All my gameplays and playthroughs of stuff like that, I've had so much fun doing, like playing stuff with you, CJ and Allie, and I've been recording the Safely Controlled podcast, which will be out soon. It'll be out soon, but you know, I've been doing that with Rob. I've been doing that with Anna as well. We're going to get back into that just because of the fact that I kind of fucked our shit up. So I would like to do that again with you.
What was it? Was it your audio that was shot, or?
My audio was really bad. It took me a while just to get to where my sound, where I am comfortable with what it actually sounds like. For whatever reason, it just took me forever to be, you know, comfortable with releasing something. I don't know, because like you would listen to a bunch of people talk like when they were first starting out and shit. Like it's just nothing's going to be perfect, and then like
I know what you're talking. See, that was my biggest issue. Is I have to not rewatch my videos too many times before I release them. Like I need to watch it once, decide it's done, and then just put it out. Because if I watch it multiple times, it's not going out. I'm gonna find something I don't want to release. So like I can relate to that literally a lot.
And then I guess the other thing that I was actually questioning was like I had brought in 3 inches deep up. Is there a future for 3 inches deep?
I would say there is. I would say we gotta wait for the Zacks to both maybe get a year into fatherhood because I mean I think what Chop is 6 months at this point and Zach is just in a month, so those are pretty new fathers. That's gonna be the big issue I think with them. Is going to be timing. And I know that Zach works a daytime job and Chop works like an evening job. So that's another one of the issues we've been finding.
But as long as like that's the thing is like as long as we can do it like maybe once a month, I don't know if.
Well, I even told them about like just get Discord and we could do it like this.
True, got a point. I mean, there's also you can go on one of your YouTube channels because I don't know where it's at, but there's the one video thing that me, and Chop did.
You know what? Now that you say that, I'm gonna go get that, and I'm gonna put that on the dad bods. So that's gonna go on dad bods do things. Now that you say that, so check that out on there if you want to. The video that Matt's about to refer to is gonna go on there for sure because I love that video.
That's so much fun. That was
when Chop sprays himself with the Febreze. It's just so good.
The infamous story of Zach drinking Pringles.
Oh yeah, dude!
Such a good. I don't know. Like that was
not
also
not only drinking Pringles, but looking super pissed off while he did it. And then, he was not happy that we were watching him do it in his sleep.
And then that also came to the really ridiculous inside phrase of how much mic can you fit in your mouth?
How much mic can you fit in your mouth? I forgot about that. Oh shit!
I'm not joking when I say I go back and watch that video a couple of times just because it makes me chuckle.
The new game show coming this fall.
The Japanese game show of how much mic can fit in your mouth.
Just a poor white guy getting eaten by Asian people.
So I guess my very last question for you would be,
Okay.
when it comes to your future, whether, this could be for wrestling or content or both, obviously. Something that you're looking forward to the most, goals that you're setting for yourself that you're wishing to hit within like the next year.
Oh wow, that's a good one.
You're welcome.
I really want to have another good singles match. So if it's for 2025, I would say my biggest thing would be to have. I don't want to just have a wrestling match. I want to have another good match because there's a lot of people that come back and have matches, but they're not necessarily good matches. And I don't want to be that dude. I don't want to be the dude that makes his quote unquote comeback only to embarrass himself.
And then, what about like the future for dad bods?
I just want to make more dad content. I would say I'm too focused on gaming, and I need to get into more the dad content. So I need to focus more on maybe dad reviews of products. I've been thinking about doing like adult reviews of baby food. Like what does
Oh,
baby food actually taste like? Like I'll give a full on like I'm a Michelin star reviewer. I'll give a full review of baby food.
I'd watch the shit out of that actually.
So like actually like, oh, I can taste a hint of the cinnamon. You know what I mean? Like try to be like actually full blown legit about it. And then probably doing like I want to start another series of like my kids first maybe because she's gonna have a bunch of firsts coming up at her age. So
Mm-hmm. Well, that
like
sounds
her
fun.
first this, her first that, because she's gonna get her first haircut soon, and I was thinking about doing that as one.
All right. Well, with that being said, I do appreciate you sitting down with me here for the past however long we've been talking. This was actually a lot of fun.
Yeah, this was nice.
Whenever 3 Inches Deep comes back, I'm sure everybody will know.
Mm-hmm.
And if there's people that are like, "What the fuck is 3 inches deep?" Shut up, and you'll
Yep,
figure it out.
you'll find out. You'll find out.
You want to fuck around, you'll find out. But I
Some little
do.
kid on a school bus will tell you.
But yes, I do appreciate you doing this with me. It was super cool. Thank you, anybody that's been listening to the Rogue Report.
Make sure you like and subscribe to this channel.
Please and thank you. This is the Growing with Rogue channel. Also follow Tim at on YouTube at Dad Bods Do Things. You will be seeing our content, that our shared content, back and forth on both of our channels, whether we're doing gaming, podcasting, or something like that.
You
But
know what else I've noticed about our content is it tends to be where you cut stuff out in yours. That's what I end up using in mine. Oddly, that's what's funny. So
it's
like you can
shared,
kind of
yeah.
see, yeah, you can kind of see both perspectives of like, oh, I didn't know this happened while they were doing this because it's in Rogue's video and not mine. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. That's actually, yeah, I do like that a lot too. All right, well, I honestly have a really bad problem of ending podcasts. I don't know when to end them, so we have to stop this.
Sounds good. All right,
All
bye
right,
for now.
later.